The object of Taxi Chronicles is to allow real riders with real stories, share their experience and enhance your life. So sit back and enjoy the journey. Morning. Yes, we're back with another episode, another rider. Today we're interviewing an interesting gentleman all the way from Albania, and he's going to tell us how he came to this country on his own at the age of 14 and his experience so far. So nice to have you here today, Bob.
Cheers, buddy. How are you today?
I'm okay. So tell us, you were 14 and what, did you just wake up one day and decide to come here?
No, so I basically decided I wanted to come to this country when I was about 12. So that was sort of the idea, always to just leave Albania and go away and sort of have a better future for myself. But obviously 12 is still too young. So at 14 is sort of when I fully decided to move across here. So yeah, I came here at 14, but at 12 years old is when I had ambitions.
So from 12 years old, what did you tell your parents? Did you tell your parents at 12 years old you're going to leave home soon?
Oh yeah, they were heartbroken, but they were fully supportive. I mean, they know what my country's like, and there's not a fair amount of opportunities there. So they, of course, wanted the best for me and for me to thrive. So, but that was never going to be possible in Albania. So, yeah, I mean, I knew the language very well. They weren't scared about that kind of stuff. I learned since a very young age watching movies and cartoons and all that. So they were fairly supportive. Heartbroken, but supportive.
Did you have older siblings who have come here already?
No, I have an older sister. She didn't come here. She went to school in Albania and things like that, and she's opening her own clinic soon. So she's studied to be a dentist and stuff like that, which was that's
all in Albania.
Yeah, she did that all in Albania, but things like medical fields and stuff, there'll always be jobs no matter what country you are. Yeah. So that's sort of what she did, and it was good. But I wasn't nowhere near her trajectory in terms of medical school and things like that. I wasn't looking to do that, so that's why Albania was not an option for me.
So you speak English very well. I would never have guessed that you were overseas.
Yeah, it wasn't great when I moved here. It was a fairly broken English, so it was sort of like American accent, all that kind of stuff from watching Disney channels growing up, and that's the way they teach you down there as well, because I did private tuition and stuff. So but when I came here is when I sort of perfected my language, reading more, studying English over here. It's a much different approach to how I studied it back home and stuff. So, and going to uni and everything, it helps out. Reading and talking as much as you can helps out a lot.
So you said you come here when you're 14. You mentioned about being in children's home. I was in children's home myself, so I'm interested. How did you fall into children's home when you come here?
It's not. I always tell people it's not a very crazy, sad story. I don't have that kind of thing. It was simply one reason. My parents weren't here, and I needed to be put into care of some people. I didn't have family and stuff like that, so I was obliged to live with adults because I wasn't old enough, and I was only in care for, well, I suppose I still am in a way, but it's more living independently, and they just check up on you, how you're doing with your life really. Once you become 18, you're sort of like left on your own. But yeah, it's not really a massive sad story. I just needed to have an adult around me all the time and make sure I come home okay, go to school, that kind of things.
So you're 18 now?
No, now I'm 23 in October. So I'm 23 this year.
So you were able to come here at the age of 14. Tell us about the journey of coming here. Well, you just took a train?
No, so unfortunately Albanians are not allowed here.
They're not allowed here?
No, so Albanians are not allowed here. You can try and get a visa and stuff, which pretty much most people get rejected, unless you're an old person that has a business back home, and you can use that to get like a tourist visa for a couple of months. But you're not really allowed here, generally speaking, at that age, 14. So I had to come here legally.
So it's 14 because of your age you're not allowed here, not because of Albania?
No, because of Albania. Albanians are just generally not allowed here. My example was that old people, for example, if they're older, they know that they're not coming here to break the law. They know they're only coming here for like a tourist visa. So they just simply give it to them just to come for like 2-3 months. They spend time with family. But in my case, being younger as well, no one that's young is coming at 14 as a tourist. So obviously there's an alternative motive there, and they understand that. The Home Office would know that, because a lot of people my age have done the same back home, so they've come a similar age to me. So yeah, that kind of thing.
You mentioned about the crime. Okay, they're not coming here to cause crime. Why would what, is that a common thing or something?
Yeah, so there's the general perception that all Albanians come here to cause crime and stuff, and I think that's absolutely wrong to make that statement. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on at the minute with the Home Office and Priti Patel, if obviously you know her, the Home Secretary or whatever her job is, where she made a deal with Albanians that if they're caught doing one crime, they will be deported immediately, even the most slightest of crimes, which I think it's quite rubbish, because Albanians here are fairly honourable people. They work in construction, they own businesses, they work very hard. Of course there are bad apples. I mean, there's bad apples everywhere. I mean, even people with an English nationality, they have loads of bad apples that do crime and commit crime, and they've got nowhere to deport them. But considering that we are in that, we are foreigners, if you'd like to call it, because that's, I'm assuming, the general term.
Aren't you in the EU?
We are not in the EU, no. We've been trying to get into the EU for quite some time, Albania, but it's quite difficult to get in when there are a lot of controversial situations back home and stuff. So, but yeah, hopefully at some point in the future.
So going back to your journey here, excuse me, you took the train, how did you get here?
So well, we're allowed generally around Europe, so I got the plane to France, that kind of thing, and just sort of the journey began there. It was more, you know, getting through smuggler, all that kind of stuff. So that was generally how it happened.
So how did that all work? You had to pay a smuggler?
You pay a smuggler, yeah, and they just take you through, pretty much, that kind of story.
In a truck or something?
Yeah, pretty much on a truck. Truck goes on the ferry comes to London. That's just how it works.
What's the fee for that?
Oh, when I came, it wasn't that high. When I came, it was about five and a half grand.
Really?
Yeah, so it wasn't that high. Now,
really, that's a lot of money, man.
It sounds a lot, but considering what it is now, it's really not. Because now, from what I've heard, because obviously we all know people that know people. Now it's about 25 grand.
Really?
Because of the whole Brexit thing, the border control is much more strict, so they've kind of cracked down on that.
So do they give you paperwork when you get here?
Yeah. So you pretty much go through a whole procedure. They give you paperwork, they ask you questions, stuff like that. And if you just work hard, lower your head, don't get into any trouble, I mean, you'll be fine.
Okay, that's very, very fascinating. Well, we're coming to the end of our journey. I'd love to talk to you more about this, but I know you've got things to do today.
Nah, cheers.
What would be your advice to someone who's coming from Albania, like yourself, at your age when you came in? What would be your advice to them?
Work hard and don't always listen to other people. That would be my main advice. Do what you want to do, focus on that, and just work hard. Honestly, if you work hard and you lower your head and you focus, but also just remember to live. Albanians have a general idea where we just don't stop working, and I've got my missus, which always reminds me that you're young, take a break. And I think so the young people need to hear that a little bit, that it's not always pressure on them. So just work hard, but at the same time enjoy life as well.
That was great. Thanks a lot.
Cheers, bro.
And we wish you well.
Thank you very much.
We hope that episode enhanced your life. We post an interview every day, as well as vlogging on our social media channels. Don't forget to subscribe to get our latest episode.